Hello fellow gardeners and welcome back to Smart Garden. If you're here, you've already taken one of the most rewarding steps towards sustainable gardening by setting up your own DIY worm farm. Today, we're diving deep into the heart of successful vermiculture, feeding your wiggling workforce properly. Whether you're a complete beginner who just assembled their first worm bin or a seasoned gardener looking to optimize your composting game, this comprehensive guide will transform you into a worm-feeding expert and help you unlock the full potential of your underground ecosystem. The Hungry Crew's menu, What to Feed. Understanding what makes your worms thrive starts with recognizing them as the amazing recycling machines they are. Your red wigglers aren't just eating your kitchen scraps, they're transforming organic waste into the most nutrient-dense fertilizer nature has to offer. The secret lies in providing them with a balanced diet that mimics what they would naturally consume in rich forest soil. Kitchen scraps form the foundation of your worm's diet, but not all scraps are created equal. Your worms absolutely love fruit and vegetable peels, cores, and rinds. Apple cores, banana peels, melon rinds, carrot tops, lettuce leaves, and potato peels are like gourmet meals to them. Coffee grounds are particularly special because they're slightly acidic and provide excellent grit for the worm's digestion process. Used tea bags work wonderfully too, though you should remove any staples and make sure the bags are made from natural materials rather than synthetic ones. Crushed eggshells deserve special mention in your feeding repertoire. Beyond providing essential calcium, they help regulate the pH levels in your bin while offering the grit that worms need for their digestive process. Simply rinse the shells, let them dry, and crush them into small pieces before adding them to your bin. Hair clippings, whether from your own grooming or pet brushing sessions, are surprisingly rich in nitrogen and break down beautifully in worm bins. However, feeding worms isn't just about providing nitrogen-rich green materials. The magic happens when you achieve the perfect balance between greens and brown carbon-rich materials. Shredded newspaper, particularly those printed with black ink cardboard torn into small pieces, dried leaves, and even sawdust from untreated wood, all serve as crucial bedding materials that worms consume alongside their food scraps. Alright folks, the foods you must avoid are just as important as the ones you should provide. Dairy products, meat, and fatty foods will create anaerobic conditions that lead to putrid odors and, well, attract unwanted pests like flies and rodents. While small amounts of citrus won't immediately harm your worms, excessive citrus can make your bin too acidic. Spicy foods, including onions, garlic, and hot peppers, can irritate your worm's sensitive skin. Processed foods, oily items, and anything treated with chemicals should never find their way into your worm bin. Now, the key to successful feeding lies in maintaining approximately a 50-50 ratio of greens to browns. This balance ensures proper decomposition, prevents odors, and keeps your worms healthy and active. Think of browns as the worm's bedding and structural material, while greens provide the protein and nutrients they need to thrive and reproduce. A well-managed worm farm should smell like rich, earthy forest soil, never like rotting garbage. The burial method is your first line of defense against both odors and pest problems. Instead of simply dumping food scraps on top of your bedding, create small pockets or trenches in different areas of your bin. Bury the food scraps completely under at least 2 inches of bedding material, then cover with a layer of dry browns like shredded paper or dried leaves. This burial technique serves multiple purposes beyond odor control. It prevents fruit flies from accessing the food, stops the food from attracting larger pests, and creates the anaerobic environment that worms prefer for feeding. Rotate your feeding locations around the bin to ensure even distribution of nutrients, and prevent any single area from becoming overloaded. Moisture management is perhaps the most critical aspect of maintaining a healthy worm environment. Your bin should feel like a wrung-out sponge when you squeeze a handful of bedding. Too much moisture creates anaerobic conditions leading to foul odors and potentially harmful bacteria, while too little moisture will stress your worms and slow down decomposition processes. If your bin becomes too wet, Immediately add dry brown materials like shredded paper cardboard or dried leaves to absorb excess moisture. Sometimes overfeeding with water-rich foods like watermelon or tomatoes can overwhelm your bin's moisture balance. In these cases, reduce feeding temporarily and add more browns until equilibrium is restored. Conversely, if your bin becomes too dry, use a spray bottle to mist the bedding lightly or add slightly damp newspaper. Never pour water directly into your bin, as this can create waterlogged areas that harm your worms. The goal is maintaining consistent moderate moisture throughout the entire bin. When things go wrong, quick action prevents minor issues from becoming major problems. If you notice strong odors, immediately check your moisture levels and green to brown ratio. Often, simply adding dry bedding and reducing feeding for a few days will restore balance. Fruit fly infestations usually indicate that food isn't being buried deeply enough or that the bin is too moist. Once you've mastered basic feeding, it's time to explore the gourmet options that will supercharge your worm farm's productivity. Cardboard and paper products offer more than just bedding. They're actually nutritious food sources that worms consume eagerly. Corrugated cardboard, when soaked and torn into strips, provides both structure and sustenance. Just remember to remove any tape or staples, soak the cardboard until it's thoroughly saturated, then tear it into manageable pieces. Food preparation significantly impacts how quickly your worms can process their meals. Chopping fruit and vegetable scraps into pieces smaller than 1 inch dramatically speeds up decomposition. The increased surface area allows beneficial microorganisms to break down the food faster, making it more accessible to your worms. Some vermiculture enthusiasts even freeze their food scraps before feeding, as the freezing and thawing process breaks down cell walls and accelerates decomposition. Creating a thriving ecosystem in your worm bin involves more than just worms. Beneficial microorganisms, springtails, and other decomposer organisms all contribute to creating the highest quality compost possible. You can introduce these beneficial microbes by adding a handful of rich garden soil to your bin occasionally, or by including small amounts of aged compost from other sources. Consider establishing feeding zones within your bin to maximize efficiency. Many experienced worm farmers divide their bins into quadrants, feeding in one section at a time while allowing other sections to finish processing. This rotation system ensures that worms always have access to fresh food, while allowing completed sections to mature into harvestable castings. Temperature also plays a crucial role in feeding schedules and food processing rates. During warmer months, your worms will be more active and can handle larger amounts of food more frequently. In cooler weather, reduce feeding frequency and amounts accordingly, as slower metabolism means slower food processing. Your worm farm represents more than just a composting system. It's a living ecosystem that transforms waste into garden gold while reducing your environmental footprint. The techniques you've learned today will serve you for years to come, providing endless supplies of the most valuable soil amendment available to gardeners. The journey from kitchen scraps to premium compost is incredibly rewarding, and your plants will show their appreciation through vigorous growth, improved disease resistance, and exceptional harvests. Every banana peel and coffee ground you've diverted from the landfill has been transformed into something infinitely more valuable. Remember to subscribe to Smart Garden for more sustainable gardening techniques, and share this guide with fellow gardeners who could benefit from starting their own worm farming adventures. Your success with vermiculture not only improves your own garden, but contributes to a more sustainable future for all of us. Happy composting, and may your worm bins be forever productive.